My name is Sarah Mitchell, and I'm 32 years old. I work as a teacher at a small school, and for the past 10 years, I was married to a man named David. But right now, as I stand here in this cold funeral home, wearing a black dress and watching people cry over David's coffin, my phone buzzes in my purse. I pull it out with shaking hands. The text message is from an unknown number. I open it, and my blood runs cold as I read the words. Dear Sarah, I know what David did to you. I know he divorced you and threw you out of your own home 8 days ago because he thought you were broke and useless. But what he didn't know will shock you. What he didn't know killed him. And now, you need to know the truth about who you really are. Meet me outside. I'm in the black car. We need to talk before they read the will. M. My hands start shaking so hard that I almost drop my phone. My heart pounds in my chest like a drum. Who is M? How do they know about the divorce? And what could David have possibly not known about me that got him killed? I look around the funeral home. David's mother is crying loudly near the coffin. His brother Tom is standing with his arms crossed, looking angry. David's business partner, Robert, is in the corner talking on his phone. None of them are looking at me. Actually, most of them have been ignoring me since I walked in. Because 8 days ago, David kicked me out of our house and our marriage. And now he's dead. Let me go back to the beginning and tell you how I got here. 3 weeks ago, I was still married to David Mitchell. We lived in a nice house in the suburbs with a white fence and a garden that I loved to take care of. David was a businessman who sold computer software to big companies. He made good money, and I was a teacher at the local elementary school. We had been married for 10 years, but we didn't have any children. David always said he wanted to wait until his business was more stable. Then he said we should wait until we had more money saved. Then he said maybe next year. After a while, I stopped asking. Our marriage wasn't perfect, but I thought we were okay. I thought we loved each other. I was wrong. It started 3 weeks ago on a Tuesday evening. I came home from school, tired from teaching 25 third graders all day. I walked into our kitchen and found David sitting at the table with a strange look on his face. He had papers spread out in front of him, and his business partner Robert was sitting next to him. Sarah, David said in a cold voice I had never heard before. We need to talk. I put my bag down on the counter. Okay. Hi. Robert. I didn't know you were coming over. Robert didn't smile. He just looked at me with these hard eyes and nodded. Sit down, David said, pointing to a chair across from him. Something felt wrong. My stomach twisted into a knot, but I sat down anyway. David pushed a stack of papers across the table toward me. I want a divorce. The words hit me like a punch to the chest. I couldn't breathe for a moment. What? David, what are you talking about? I'm talking about ending this marriage, he said, his voice flat and emotionless. I've already talked to my lawyer. These are the divorce papers. You just need to sign them. But, why? What did I do? Tears started filling my eyes. I don't understand. David laughed, but it wasn't a nice laugh. It was mean and cruel. What did you do? Sarah, you've been dead weight for 10 years. You're a teacher making barely any money while I'm out here building a real business. I need a partner who can actually contribute something. His words felt like knives cutting into my heart. Dead weight. David, I work hard every day. I take care of our home. I support you. Support me. He slammed his hand on the table, making me jump. You support me? With what? Your tiny teacher salary that barely covers groceries? I've been carrying this whole marriage financially while you play with children all day. Robert was just sitting there, watching this happen, not saying a word. That's not fair, I said, my voice shaking. You knew I was a teacher when you married me. You said you loved that about me. You said. I said a lot of things 10 years ago, David interrupted. But things change. I'm about to close the biggest business deal of my life. Robert and I are going to be millionaires. And I can't have a broke, useless wife holding me back anymore. The cruelty in his voice was shocking. This wasn't the man I married. This wasn't the man who used to bring me flowers and tell me I was beautiful. So you're just throwing me away? I whispered. After 10 years. Sign the papers, Sarah, he said, pushing them closer to me. I've already packed your things. They're in boxes by the front door. You can stay with your sister or find some cheap apartment. I don't really care. But you need to be out of this house tonight. Tonight. I stood up, my chair scraping loudly against the floor. David, you can't be serious. This is my home too. Actually, Robert spoke up for the first time, his voice smooth and oily. The house is in David's name only. You have no legal claim to it. So technically, it's his home, and he's asking you to leave. I looked at Robert with shock. You're helping him do this? You've been to our house for dinner dozens of times. I thought we were friends. Robert shrugged. This is just business, Sarah. Nothing personal. Nothing personal. I was crying now, tears running down my face. He's destroying our marriage and you call it business? David stood up too. Stop being dramatic. You're making this harder than it needs to be. Just sign the papers and go. I'm giving you $10,000 to help you get started somewhere else. That's more than generous considering you brought nothing into this marriage. I brought nothing. I was shaking with anger and hurt now. I brought love. I brought 10 years of my life. I cooked your meals, cleaned our home, supported your dreams. And I paid for everything, David said coldly. Every bill, every vacation, every piece of clothing on your back. So yes, Sarah, you brought nothing of value. Now sign the papers. I looked down at the divorce papers through my tears. My whole life was falling apart in front of me, and there was nothing I could do to stop it. What if I say no? I asked quietly. David's face hardened. Then I'll make this ugly. I'll drag you through court and make sure you get even less than I'm offering now. Your choice. I felt so small and powerless in that moment. I had no money saved up of my own. My teaching salary went into our joint account that David controlled. I didn't have a lawyer. I didn't have anywhere to go. My hands shaking, I picked up the pen and signed the papers. David smiled for the first time that evening, but it wasn't a kind smile. Smart choice. Now get your boxes and get out. I walked to the front door like a zombie, my mind completely numb. There were 5 cardboard boxes stacked there with my clothes, my books, my few personal items. Everything I owned in the world fit into 5 boxes. I loaded them into my old car, a car I had bought with my own money before we got married, thank God, and drove away from the house I had called home for 10 years. I ended up at my younger sister Monica's apartment. She lived in a small 1-bedroom place across town. When she opened the door and saw me standing there crying with boxes in my arms, she pulled me inside without asking any questions. He threw me out, I sobbed. Monica, David divorced me and threw me out. She hugged me tight while I cried. That bastard. You can stay here as long as you need to. We'll figure this out. For the next week, I lived on Monica's couch. I went to work each day teaching my students, pretending everything was fine, and then came back to cry myself to sleep at night. I felt worthless. I felt like maybe David was right. Maybe I was just dead weight. Maybe I really had brought nothing of value to our marriage. But then, 8 days after the divorce, everything changed. 8 days after David kicked me out, my phone rang while I was at school. It was an unknown number. Hello. I answered. Is this Sarah Mitchell? A man's voice asked. Yes, who is this? My name is Mr. Harrison. I'm a lawyer from Goldman and Associates. I need to speak with you about your grandmother, Elizabeth Chen. My grandmother? I felt confused. My grandmother died 2 years ago. Yes, I know, Mr. Harrison said. That's why I'm calling. There's been a delay in settling her estate due to some legal complications, but everything has finally been sorted out. I need you to come to my office today if possible. It's extremely important. I'm at work right now. I'm a teacher. I can't just leave. Miss Mitchell, he said seriously, I really must insist. This concerns a substantial inheritance. Can you take the afternoon off? Inheritance. My grandmother had been a sweet old lady who lived in a small apartment and sent me birthday cards with $5 in them. What inheritance could there possibly be? But I was curious, so I told my principal I had a family emergency and drove to the address Mr. Harrison gave me. His office was in a tall building downtown with marble floors and expensive furniture. When I walked in, wearing my simple teacher clothes, I felt very out of place. Mr. Harrison was an older man with gray hair and a kind face. He shook my hand and led me to his office. Miss Mitchell, he said, sitting down across from me, I have some surprising news for you. Your grandmother, Elizabeth Chin, was a very wealthy woman. I laughed because I thought he was joking. My grandmother? She lived in a tiny apartment and worked in a restaurant her whole life. That's what she wanted everyone to believe, Mr. Harrison said, opening a file on his desk. But the truth is quite different. Your grandmother owned several properties in China that have become extremely valuable. She also had investments that she made very wisely over the years. And she left everything to you. My mouth fell open. What? That's impossible. It's very possible, he said, smiling now. And very real. After all the legal work and taxes have been handled, you are inheriting approximately $43 million. The room started spinning. I gripped the arms of my chair to steady myself. $43 million? I whispered. That can't be right. It is right, Mr. Harrison said. Your grandmother was very specific in her will. Everything goes to you. The money will be transferred to your account within the next week. I sat there in complete shock. Just 8 days ago, David had called me broke and useless and kicked me out of our house because I had no money. And now I was about to become a multimillionaire. I started laughing. I couldn't help it. I laughed so hard that tears ran down my face. Mr. Harrison looked concerned. Miss Mitchell, are you all right? My husband, I said between laughs. My ex-husband divorced me 8 days ago because he thought I was poor and worthless. He threw me out of our house. And now you're one of the wealthiest women in the state, Mr. Harrison finished, understanding dawning on his face. But then my laughter stopped as a dark thought crossed my mind. Mr. Harrison, my ex-husband can't get any of this money, can he? We're already divorced. The divorce was finalized 8 days ago, he asked. Yes. Then no, he said firmly. He has no legal claim to your inheritance whatsoever. This money is yours and yours alone. I felt a wave of relief wash over me. David had thrown me away thinking I had nothing. But I had everything. I left Mr. Harrison's office that day feeling like a different person. I wasn't worthless. I wasn't broke. I wasn't dead weight. I was rich beyond my wildest dreams. And David had no idea. I decided not to tell anyone except Monica. I wanted to wait until the money was actually in my account before I believed it was real. The week passed slowly. Each day I woke up wondering if it had all been a dream. But then, exactly 7 days after meeting with Mr. Harrison, I checked my bank account and saw a number so big it didn't seem real. $43,216,000. I stared at my phone screen for a full minute, just looking at that number. I was rich. Actually, truly rich. That same day, I got a call from Monica. She was crying. Sarah, she sobbed into the phone, it's David. There's been an accident. He's dead. And now, here I am at his funeral, holding my phone and reading a mysterious text from someone who knows everything. Someone who says they know what killed David. Someone who says I need to know the truth about who I really am. I look out the window of the funeral home and see a black car parked outside, its engine running. My heart is pounding as I walk toward the door. Everyone is too busy crying or talking to notice me leave. I push open the door and step outside into the cold air. The back door of the black car opens. And sitting inside is someone I never expected to see. I freeze when I see who's sitting in the back of the black car. It's a woman, maybe 60 years old, with silver hair pulled back in a neat bun. She's wearing an expensive-looking black suit and pearl earrings. Her eyes are sharp and intelligent, and there's something familiar about her face that I can't quite place. "Please, get in, Sarah," she says in a gentle but firm voice. "We don't have much time before the will reading starts." "Who are you?" I ask, not moving. "How do you know about my divorce?" "My name is Margaret Chen," she says. "I was your grandmother's personal assistant for 30 years. And I know much more than just your divorce. I know everything." Chen. My grandmother's last name. I take a step closer to the car but don't get in yet. "If you worked for my grandmother, why am I only meeting you now? Why didn't you come to her funeral 2 years ago?" Margaret's face softens with sadness. "I was in China handling her property sales. By the time I got back, the funeral was over. But I've been watching over you from a distance, Sarah. Your grandmother asked me to. She made me promise to protect you." "Protect me from what?" "From people like David," Margaret says quietly. "From people who would use you for your money. Your grandmother knew this day would come. She knew that once you inherited her fortune, dangerous people would appear. She just didn't expect one of them to be your own husband. Now please, get in. We need to talk before David's family finds out the truth." Something in her voice makes me trust her. Maybe it's because she has my grandmother's last name. Maybe it's because I'm desperate for answers. I climb into the car and close the door. The inside of the car is warm and smells like leather. Margaret presses a button and a dark privacy screen rises between us and the driver. "David is dead," I say, my voice shaking. "Your text said you know what killed him. Was it really an accident?" Margaret looks me directly in the eyes. "No, Sarah. It wasn't an accident. David was murdered." My heart stops. Murdered? But the police said he crashed his car. They said he lost control on the highway. "That's what it was made to look like," Margaret says. "But I have sources, people I pay very well, who investigated the crash scene. David's brake lines were cut. Someone wanted him dead. I feel like I'm going to be sick. Who would kill David?" "That's what we need to figure out," Margaret says. "But first, you need to understand something important. Your text said that David threw you out because he thought you were broke. But 3 days ago, he found out the truth." My blood runs cold. "What? How?" Margaret pulls out a tablet from her bag and shows me a photo. It's a screenshot of an email. I lean closer to read it. The email is from someone named J. Torres, and it's addressed to David. It says, "Mr. Mitchell, you asked me to investigate your ex-wife Sarah Mitchell. I have discovered something shocking. 8 days ago, one day after your divorce was finalized, Sarah inherited $43.2 million from her grandmother Elizabeth Chen. The money is now in her account. I'm attaching bank statements as proof. My investigation fee is $5,000 as agreed. J. Torres, private investigator." My hands start shaking. He hired a private investigator to spy on me? "Yes," Margaret says. "And when he found out about your inheritance, he became desperate. He realized he had made a terrible mistake divorcing you. I think back to 3 days ago. That was the day after the money appeared in my account. I was at Monica's apartment, still trying to process that I was actually rich. My phone had rung several times from an unknown number, but I didn't answer. Then I got text messages. I pull out my phone and scroll back through my messages from 3 days ago. There they are, messages from a number I didn't recognize. Sarah, this is David. Please call me. It's urgent. Sarah, I made a mistake. A terrible mistake. We need to talk. I know about the money. Please, we can work this out. I still love you. Sarah, answer your phone. We're still married in the eyes of God. That money should be ours, not just yours. You can't ignore me forever. I'm coming to find you. I had blocked the number after that last message because it scared me. I thought David was just being cruel, trying to mess with my head after throwing me away. But now I understand. He knew. He knew I was rich, and he wanted the money. He was trying to get back together with me, I whisper. Not because he loved me. Because he wanted my money. Exactly, Margaret says. And according to my sources, he was meeting with lawyers to try to find a way to get some of your inheritance. He was claiming that since the inheritance process started before the divorce was final, he had a legal right to half of it. Anger burns in my chest. That's not true. Mr. Harrison said he had no claim. It's not true, Margaret agrees. But David was going to try anyway. He was going to sue you and drag you through court and make your life miserable until you agreed to give him money just to make him go away. I feel tears burning in my eyes. Even after throwing me away like garbage, David wanted to take from me. He wanted to ruin me. But he didn't get the chance, I say slowly. Because someone killed him first. Yes, Margaret says. Someone cut his brake lines 2 days ago. His car crashed yesterday morning at high speed on the highway. He died instantly. My mind is racing. Do the police know about the cut brake lines? Not yet, Margaret says. My investigator found the evidence first and called me. I haven't decided whether to give it to the police. I stare at her in shock. Why wouldn't you tell the police? Margaret leans forward, her eyes intense. Because, Sarah, there are several people who had reasons to want David dead. And I need to know if one of those people was you. The accusation hits me like a slap. What? You think I killed him? Did you? Margaret asks calmly. No. I'm angry now. I didn't even know he found out about my money. I've been hiding at my sister's apartment trying to figure out my life. I haven't seen or talked to David since he threw me out. Margaret studies my face carefully, then nods. I believe you. You're not a good enough actress to fake that reaction. But someone killed him, Sarah. And we need to figure out who before they come after you next. Come after me? Why would someone come after me? Because, Margaret says, pulling out another document, David changed his will 3 days ago, right after he found out about your inheritance. She hands me a paper. It's a copy of David's new will. I read it quickly, and my stomach drops. The will says that David leaves everything he owns to his beloved wife Sarah Mitchell, and that if anything happens to him, I should inherit his half of the business he owns with Robert. But we're divorced, I say, confused. This will doesn't make sense. David was planning to claim the divorce wasn't valid, Margaret explains. He was going to say you tricked him or that he signed the papers under stress. It was nonsense, but he was desperate. He changed his will to show that he still considered you his wife. He thought it would help his legal case to get your money. So if this will is valid, I start to understand. I would inherit his business. His half of the business, yes, Margaret says. Which is worth about $12 million. And that gives you a perfect motive for murder in the eyes of the police. My heart starts pounding. But I didn't know about any of this. I didn't know he changed his will. I know that, Margaret says. But the police won't. All they'll see is that your ex-husband threw you out, then you inherited a fortune, then he turned up dead, and now you're inheriting his money too. It looks very suspicious. I feel trapped. What do I do? First, we need to find out who really killed him, Margaret says. And I have several suspects. She pulls up more files on her tablet. Suspect number 1, Robert Chong, David's business partner. David and Robert were supposed to close a huge deal this week that would make them both very rich. But I've discovered that Robert has been stealing money from the business for months. David was about to find out. Robert was stealing? I remember Robert sitting in my kitchen, watching coldly as David destroyed our marriage. Yes. About $2 million. If David had lived long enough to audit the books, Robert would have gone to prison. So Robert had a very good reason to want David dead. Margaret swipes to another file. Suspect number 2, Tom Mitchell, David's brother. She shows me a photo of Tom, who I saw at the funeral home earlier. He's David's younger brother, and he always seemed angry about something. What's Tom's motive? I ask. Tom borrowed $500,000 from David 2 years ago to start a restaurant. The restaurant failed, and Tom couldn't pay him back. David was threatening to sue Tom and take his house. With David dead, that debt disappears. I never knew any of this. David never told me about lending money to his brother. Margaret swipes again. Suspect number 3, Melissa Waters. The photo shows a beautiful young woman with long blonde hair and perfect makeup. I've never seen her before. Who is Melissa Waters? Margaret's expression darkens. She's the woman David was having an affair with for the past 6 months. The words hit me like a truck. Affair? David was cheating on me. Yes, Margaret says gently. I'm sorry. He met her at a business conference. She's 24 years old and works as a receptionist. David promised her he would divorce his boring, poor wife and marry her instead. He even bought her an expensive apartment. I feel numb. My marriage was even more of a lie than I thought. But why would she kill him? I ask. Because, Margaret says, 3 days ago, after David found out about your $43 million, he called Melissa and broke up with her. He told her he was going to try to get back together with you because you were rich now. Melissa was furious. She made threats. She said she would make him sorry. 4 suspects. For people who wanted David dead. There's one more thing, Margaret says quietly. Something about your grandmother that you need to know. What about her? Margaret takes a deep breath. Your grandmother Elizabeth wasn't just a random woman who got lucky with investments. She was part of a very powerful Chinese family, the Chen family. They owned factories, real estate, banks. But when the political situation in China changed, your grandmother had to flee. She came to America with nothing but some money she had hidden away. I never knew any of this, I whisper. She didn't want you to know, Margaret says. She lived a simple life in America on purpose. She wanted to protect you from her past. But she never stopped being smart with money. She invested carefully, she bought properties at the right time, and she built a fortune all over again. And she left it all to you. Why me? Why not split it between all her grandchildren? Margaret's face grows sad. Because you were the only grandchild who ever really loved her for who she was, not for what she had. You visited her every week. You brought her flowers. You listened to her stories. She knew you had a good heart, Sarah. She trusted you with her legacy. Tears roll down my face. I miss my grandmother so much. But here's what you need to understand, Margaret continues. Your grandmother made a lot of enemies when she was young in China. Powerful people who lost money when she left. Some of those people are still alive. And now that you've inherited her fortune, they might come looking for you. You think someone from China killed David? I ask, confused. No, Margaret says. But I think you're in danger from multiple directions. That's why I'm here. I promised your grandmother I would protect you, and I intend to keep that promise. She reaches into her bag and pulls out a small card. This is my number. You call me any time, day or night. And you don't trust anyone, not David's family, not his friends, not even the police until we know who killed him. I take the card with shaking hands. The will reading is about to start, Margaret says. checking her watch. David's lawyer is going to read his new will in front of his whole family. When they find out that you're inheriting half his business, they're going to be very angry. You need to be prepared. I don't want his money, I say. I just want to know the truth about what happened. Unfortunately, you don't get to choose, Margaret says. The will is the will. But remember, act surprised when they read it. Don't let anyone know that you already knew about it. And watch everyone's reactions carefully. The killer might reveal themselves. She reaches for the door handle, then stops and turns back to me. One more thing, Sarah. Your grandmother left you a safety deposit box key with her lawyer, Mr. Harrison. Inside that box is a letter she wrote to you and something else, something very valuable and very dangerous. You need to get that box and read that letter as soon as possible. Your grandmother knew things about your family that even I don't know. Things that might explain why David had to die. Before I can ask what she means, Margaret opens the car door. Go, she says. The will reading is starting. And remember, trust no one. I climb out of the car on shaky legs and watch as the black car drives away. When I turn back toward the funeral home, I see Tom standing in the doorway, staring at me with a strange expression on his face. Who was that? He asks suspiciously. Who were you talking to? My mind races. Just an old friend of my grandmother's. She wanted to pay her respects. Tom's eyes narrow. That's strange. She didn't come inside to the funeral. She's in a hurry, I say quickly, trying to walk past him. But Tom blocks my path. We need to talk, Sarah. About the will. What about it? Tom leans in close, and I can smell alcohol on his breath. I know what David did. I know he changed his will to leave everything to you. But you don't deserve that money. You weren't even married to him anymore. My heart pounds. How does Tom know about the will already? I don't know what you're talking about, I say. Don't play dumb, Tom hisses. David's lawyer called me this morning. He told me about the new will. And I'm telling you right now, I'm going to contest it. You're not getting a penny of my brother's money. I don't want his money, I say honestly. Liar, Tom spits. Everyone wants money. That's all anyone cares about. Money and power and getting ahead. He's so close now that I can see the rage in his bloodshot eyes. For a moment, I wonder if Tom is the killer. He's drunk, he's angry, and he clearly hated owing David money. Excuse me, I say firmly, pushing past him. I walk back into the funeral home, my heart racing. The lawyer is setting up at the front of the room. David's mother is still crying. Robert is checking his phone. And scattered around the room are about 20 other people. David's cousins, his friends from work, his old college buddies. One of these people might be a murderer. The lawyer clears his throat. Thank you all for coming. I know this is a difficult time. But David's will requests that I read it immediately after the funeral service. So if everyone could please take a seat. People start sitting down in the folding chairs. I sit in the back row, trying to stay invisible. The lawyer opens a folder and begins to read. I, David Mitchell, being of sound mind and body. The usual legal language drones on. People look bored. David's mother is still crying softly. Then the lawyer gets to the important part. I leave my half of Mitchell Chong Software Solutions, valued at approximately $12 million, to my beloved wife, Sarah Mitchell. The room erupts. What? Tom jumps to his feet. He wasn't married to Sarah anymore. They were divorced. That's insane, someone else shouts. David's mother turns to look at me with pure hatred in her eyes. You killed my son. You killed him for his money. Everyone starts yelling at once. Robert stands up and storms toward me, his face red with anger. This is your fault, he screams. You manipulated him. You probably sabotaged his car yourself. I didn't, I start to say, but my voice is drowned out by all the shouting. The lawyer bangs his hand on the table. Please. Everyone calm down. The will is legally binding. Whether you agree with it or not, this is what David wanted. I want to see proof. Tom demands. I want to see the original will. This has to be a fake. While everyone is arguing and shouting, I notice something strange. There's a woman standing in the corner by herself, not yelling, not reacting at all. She's just watching me with cold, calculating eyes. It's Melissa Waters, the blonde woman from the photo Margaret showed me, David's mistress. Our eyes meet across the room, and she smiles. It's not a friendly smile. It's the smile of someone who knows something terrible. And then she turns and walks out of the funeral home, pulling out her phone as she goes. My instincts scream at me to follow her. I stand up and push through the crowd of angry people, ignoring their shouts and accusations. I run outside just in time to see Melissa getting into a red sports car, a car that's way too expensive for a receptionist to afford. She sees me watching her, and her smile grows wider. Then she mouths 3 words at me through the car window. You're next, sweetie. And she drives away. I stand frozen in the parking lot, watching Melissa's red car disappear down the street. My whole body is shaking. You're next. What did that mean? Was Melissa threatening to kill me? Did she kill David? I pull out my phone with trembling fingers and call Margaret's number. She answers on the first ring. What happened? She asks immediately. Melissa Waters was at the funeral, I say quickly. She just threatened me. She said, you're next, and drove away. Margaret, I think she might be the killer. Where are you right now? Margaret's voice is sharp and focused. In the parking lot of the funeral home. Everyone inside is screaming about the will. They all think I killed David for his money. Listen carefully, Margaret says. You need to leave right now. Don't go back inside. Get in your car and drive to your sister's apartment. Lock the doors and don't open them for anyone except me. I'm going to send one of my security people to watch the building. Security people? Margaret, who are you exactly? I'll explain everything when I see you, she says. But right now, you're in danger. Melissa Waters is not just some receptionist having an affair. She has a criminal record. Assault, fraud, theft. She's dangerous. Sarah. Now go. I run to my old car and jump inside, locking the doors. My hands are shaking so hard I can barely get the key in the ignition. As I'm pulling out of the parking lot, I see Tom burst through the funeral home doors, looking around wildly. When he spots my car, he starts running toward me, waving his arms and shouting. I don't stop. I press the gas pedal and speed away. In my rearview mirror, I see Tom standing in the middle of the parking lot, staring after me with that same angry expression. The drive to Monica's apartment feels like it takes forever. Every car behind me might be following me. Every person on the sidewalk might be watching me. When I finally pull into Monica's apartment complex, I'm crying from stress and fear. I run up the stairs to her second-floor apartment and bang on the door. Monica. It's me. Let me in. The door swings open and Monica pulls me inside, locking the door behind me. Sarah, what's wrong? You look terrified. I collapse onto her couch and tell her everything. About Margaret Chen. About David being murdered. About the 4 suspects. About Melissa's threat. Monica's face goes pale. Oh my God. Sarah, you need to call the police. And tell them what? I ask. That I think someone might want to kill me? They'll just say I'm being paranoid. Especially after they find out I'm inheriting David's money. They probably already think I'm the killer. Monica sits down next to me and takes my hand. Okay, let's think about this. If Melissa killed David, why would she threaten you? Wouldn't she try to stay hidden? That's a good point. Maybe she wants to scare me away. Or maybe she's crazy and doesn't care about getting caught. Or maybe, Monica says slowly, she's not the killer. Maybe she just wants you to think she is. I stare at my sister. Why would she do that? To distract you from the real killer, Monica says. Think about it. If you're busy being scared of Melissa, you're not looking at the other suspects. My mind is spinning. Could Monica be right? My phone buzzes. It's a text from Margaret. Security team is outside your sister's building. Black SUV. They'll watch all night. Go get the safety deposit box tomorrow morning. We need to know what your grandmother left for you. Meet me at the bank at 9 a.m. I show the text to Monica. Who is this Margaret person? Monica asks. And why does your grandmother have security teams? I don't know, I admit. But I trust her. She was grandmother's assistant for 30 years. Sarah, you just met her today, Monica points out. How do you know she's telling you the truth? That makes me pause. How do I know? Margaret could be lying about everything. Maybe she's the one who killed David. Maybe she wants my inheritance for herself. But something in my gut tells me to trust her. Maybe it's because she has information that nobody else has. Maybe it's because my grandmother trusted her. I need to get that safety deposit box tomorrow, I say. Whatever is in grandmother's letter, it might explain everything. Monica nods. I'm coming with you. No, it's too dangerous. I'm coming with you, Monica repeats firmly. You're my big sister and you're in trouble. I'm not letting you face this alone. I hug her tight, grateful that at least I have one person I can trust completely. That night, I barely sleep. Every sound makes me jump. Every car that drives by might be Melissa or Tom or Robert coming to kill me. In the morning, I'm exhausted but determined. Monica and I get ready quickly and drive to the bank where Mr. Harrison's office is located. Margaret is already waiting outside in her black suit, looking calm and professional. Next to her is a large man in a dark suit who looks like a bodyguard. This is Marcus, Margaret says, nodding to the man. He'll be accompanying us inside. Is all this really necessary? I ask. Yes, Margaret says simply. Someone killed David 2 days after he found out about your inheritance. We're not taking any chances. Mr. Harrison meets us in the lobby of the bank. He looks surprised to see so many people with me. Miss Mitchell, he says, shaking my hand. I have your grandmother's safety deposit box key here. If you'll follow me. We all walk through the bank to a special room where the safety deposit boxes are kept. Mr. Harrison uses his key and my grandmother's key to open a small metal box. Inside is a thick envelope and a small velvet bag. I'll give you privacy to review the contents, Mr. Harrison says, and leaves the room. Marcus stays by the door, watching. I open the envelope with shaking hands. Inside is a letter written in my grandmother's neat handwriting. I start reading out loud so Monica and Margaret can hear. My dearest Sarah, if you are reading this, then I am gone and you have inherited my fortune. I wish I could be there to guide you through what comes next, but I must tell you these things in writing. First, you must know that you are in danger. Not from strangers, but from your own family. Your grandfather, my husband, was not a good man. His name was Chen Weitang, and he was involved in very bad business in China. Smuggling, bribing officials, and worse things I cannot write. When I discovered the truth about his crimes, I took evidence to the authorities. He was arrested, and many powerful people lost money because of his crimes. Those people blamed me. They said I betrayed my own husband. Some of them threatened to kill me and our children. That's why I fled to America and changed my life. I thought I had escaped. But 3 months before I died, I received a letter from China. It said that the Chen family debts are still unpaid. It said that one day, someone would come to collect. Not from me, but from my descendants. Sarah, I left you my money because I love you and trust you. But I also left you a burden. There are dangerous people who believe you owe them something because of your grandfather's crimes. You must be careful. In the velvet bag, you will find a jade pendant. It belonged to your grandfather. On the back is engraved the name of a man, Lin Zhao. He was your grandfather's business partner and the most dangerous man I ever met. If anyone comes looking for you claiming to be owed money from the Chen family, show them this pendant. It is a symbol that will give you safe passage. But be warned, using this pendant means admitting you are part of the Chen family. It will mark you as someone involved in that old, dark world. Use it only if you have no other choice. I'm sorry to leave you with these burdens along with my blessings. Please forgive me. Please be safe. And please remember that no amount of money is worth your life. All my love. Grandmother Elizabeth. My hands are shaking so hard that I dropped the letter. Monica picks it up and reads it again, her face going white. Sarah, she whispers, we're in danger because of things that happened before we were even born. I open the velvet bag and pull out the jade pendant. It's beautiful, deep green with gold markings. I turn it over and see the engraved name, Lin Zhao. Margaret's face has gone very pale. May I see that? I hand her the pendant. She studies it carefully, then looks up at me with fear in her eyes. Sarah, she says quietly, I know who Lin Zhao is. He's still alive. He's in his 80s now, but he's still one of the most powerful crime lords in Southeast Asia. If he's connected to your grandfather's old debts, then what? I ask. You think he sent someone to America to collect from me? I don't know, Margaret says. But this changes everything. David's murder might not be about the will or jealousy or stolen money. It might be about your grandmother's past. Monica stands up suddenly. Wait. If these crime people wanted Sarah dead, why would they kill David? That doesn't make sense. She's right. Nothing makes sense. Unless, Margaret says slowly, David wasn't the target. Maybe the killer made a mistake. Maybe they thought they were killing you. A chill runs down my spine. What? Think about it, Margaret says. David was driving your old car when he crashed. The silver Honda that you bought before you got married. You drove that car for years. Anyone who was watching you would assume that was your car. But I gave David that car in the divorce, I say. I got a different car afterward. A blue Toyota. Did anyone know that? Margaret asks. Did you tell anyone? I think back. No. I only got the new car 3 days ago. I barely told anyone. So if someone was watching David's house, waiting to cut the brake lines on your car, Margaret says, they might have cut the brake lines on the silver Honda, thinking it was yours. The room starts spinning. You're saying David died because someone was trying to kill me? It's possible, Margaret says. Which means the killer still thinks their job isn't finished. Monica grabs my arm. Sarah, we need to go to the police right now. And tell them what? I ask. That maybe someone from a Chinese crime family is trying to kill me because of something my grandfather did 40 years ago? They'll think I'm crazy. She's right, Margaret says. We have no proof. Just an old letter and a jade pendant. The police will never believe this. So what do we do? Monica asks desperately. Margaret thinks for a moment. We need to find out if Lin Zhao or anyone connected to him is in America right now. I have contacts who can check. In the meantime, Sarah needs to stay hidden and stay safe. Marcus, the bodyguard, suddenly speaks up from his position by the door. Ma'am, we have a problem. We all turn to look at him. He's looking at his phone with a concerned expression. What is it? Margaret asks. There's been another incident, Marcus says. Robert Chong, David's business partner. He was just found dead in his office. My heart stops. What? How? Looks like suicide, Marcus says, reading from his phone. He left a note confessing to embezzling money from the business. But the police are saying the scene looks suspicious. Margaret and I lock eyes. That's 2 people dead, I whisper. David and now Robert. Robert was one of our suspects, Margaret says. If he's dead too, then either he killed himself out of guilt, or someone is eliminating everyone connected to David, I finish. Monica's face is white with fear. That means Tom and Melissa could be next. Or Sarah could be next. My phone suddenly buzzes with a text from an unknown number. With trembling hands, I open it. It's a photo. A photo of me and Monica standing outside the bank right now. Someone is watching us at this very moment. Below the photo is a message. Stop investigating David's death. Forget about the money. Leave the country or you're next. You have 24 hours. This is your only warning. A friend. I show the phone to Margaret and Marcus. Marcus immediately moves to the window and looks outside, his hand moving to something under his jacket, probably a gun. We need to leave now, Margaret says urgently. Out the back exit. Marcus, get the car. Marcus nods and speaks into a small device on his wrist. We hurry through the bank, Mr. Harrison looking confused and concerned as we rush past him. Margaret leads us through a back hallway and out an emergency exit. A black SUV pulls up immediately. We pile inside, and Marcus drives away fast. Who took that photo? Monica asks, her voice shaking. Who's threatening Sarah? I don't know, Margaret says, but they know where we are and what we're doing. We need to assume we're being followed at all times. I look out the back window of the SUV, trying to see if any cars are following us. But there are so many cars on the road. Any one of them could be the killer. Where are we going? I ask. Somewhere safe, Margaret says. I own a house outside the city. It's secure and private. You'll both stay there until we figure out who's behind this. My phone buzzes again. Another text from the same unknown number. This time it's just 2 words. Time's ticking. And then a third text comes through, a video file. With shaking hands, I click on it. The video shows the outside of Monica's apartment building. The camera zooms in on a window, Monica's window. Then the video pans down to show a man standing on the street, looking up at the apartment. The man is Asian, maybe 50 years old, wearing an expensive suit. He has cold, emotionless eyes. And in his hand, clearly visible, is a jade pendant identical to the one my grandmother left me. The video ends. Margaret sees the video and her face goes completely white. That's him, she whispers. That's Lin Zhao's son. His name is Lin Chen. He's even more dangerous than his father. He's here. I can barely breathe. He's in America. And he knows where your sister lives, Margaret says grimly. Sarah, this is much worse than I thought. This isn't just about your grandmother's past. This is about something bigger. Something your grandmother didn't tell even me. What do we do? Monica asks, tears streaming down her face. Before Margaret can answer, Marcus suddenly swears and swerves the SUV hard to the right. A black car has pulled up next to us, matching our speed. The windows are tinted so dark I can't see inside. Then the back window rolls down just a few inches. And someone points a gun at our car. Get down! Marcus shouts. Glass shatters as bullets punch through the window. I scream and duck down as glass explodes all around us. Monica throws herself on top of me, protecting me with her body. Margaret pulls out a gun from her purse. She has a gun. And yells something to Marcus. Marcus spins the wheel hard and our SUV lurches to the left, crashing into the black car. Metal screeches against metal. More gunshots ring out, loud as thunder. Hold on! Marcus shouts. He slams on the gas and our SUV shoots forward, weaving between other cars. Horns blare all around us. People on the sidewalk are screaming and running. I peek up just enough to see the black car chasing us, getting closer. They're going to kill us. Monica cries. Marcus makes a sharp right turn into an alley. Our SUV barely fits between the buildings. Trash cans go flying. The black car follows us, scraping against the brick walls. At the end of the alley, Marcus turns left onto another street, then right, then left again. He's driving like a crazy person, but he's trying to lose them. For a few minutes, we zigzag through the city streets. My heart is pounding so hard I think it might explode. Finally, Marcus looks in the rearview mirror and says, "I think we lost them." Margaret sits up slowly, still holding her gun. "Everyone okay?" Monica and I are both shaking but unhurt. "We're okay," I manage to say. "That was Lin Chen's people," Margaret says grimly. "They're not playing around. They want you dead, Sarah." "But why?" I'm crying now. What did I do? I didn't even know about my grandfather's crimes until today. "It's not about what you did," Margaret says. "It's about what they think you have. Or what they think you know." "I don't have anything. I don't know anything." Margaret looks at me with serious eyes. "Your grandmother's letter said Lin Zhao was your grandfather's business partner. What if they had something together? Money, documents, evidence of crimes? What if Lin Zhao thinks your grandmother took something that belonged to him, and now he thinks you have it?" "But I don't have anything except the money and the jade pendant." "Are you sure?" Margaret asks. "Did your grandmother give you anything else? Any boxes, papers, storage units?" I think hard. "No. Just what Mr. Harrison gave me. The money, the properties in China, and the safety deposit box." Margaret's eyes widen. "The properties in China. Sarah, what if something is hidden in one of those properties? What if your grandmother hid something there years ago, and now Lin Zhao wants it back?" "What kind of something?" Monica asks. "I don't know," Margaret admits. "But it has to be valuable enough to kill for. Valuable enough to send assassins to America." Marcus is still driving, taking random turns to make sure we're not being followed. We end up on the highway heading out of the city. My phone buzzes again. I'm almost too scared to look, but I do. It's a text from Tom, David's brother. "Sarah, we need to talk. I know things about David you don't know. Things about why he really divorced you. Meet me at the old warehouse on 5th Street at 8 p.m. Come alone or I won't talk. This is important. Tom." I show the text to Margaret. "It's a trap," she says immediately. "Don't go." "But what if he really knows something?" I ask. "What if Tom knows why all this is happening? Then he can tell you over the phone," Margaret says. "You're not meeting him alone in some warehouse. That's how people get killed in movies, Sarah." She's right, but something about the text bothers me. Tom sounded drunk and angry at the funeral, but this text sounds different. More serious. More scared. What if Tom is in danger too? I say. "You said the killer might be eliminating everyone connected to David. First David, then Robert. What if Tom is next?" Margaret considers this. "It's possible. But that doesn't mean you should walk into a trap." "What if I don't go alone?" I suggest. "What if you and Marcus come with me and wait outside? If it's a trap, you can rescue me." "Absolutely not," Monica says. "Sarah, someone just tried to kill us with actual guns. You're not going to any warehouse." She's right, Margaret agrees. "It's too dangerous. But I can't shake the feeling that Tom knows something important. Something that might explain everything. What if I call Tom and tell him to meet somewhere public instead?" I suggest. "Like a coffee shop or a restaurant." Margaret thinks about it. "That might work. But I choose the location, and Marcus and I will be there watching you the whole time." I nod and dial Tom's number. He answers after 2 rings. "Sarah." He sounds surprised. "You got my text?" "Yes, but I'm not meeting you in some warehouse," I say. "If you want to talk, meet me at the coffee shop on Main Street in 1 hour. The one next to the bookstore." There's a long pause. I can't. Someone's watching me. They've been following me since the funeral. If I go somewhere public, they'll see. My blood runs cold. Who's watching you? I don't know. Tom's voice is panicked now, not angry like at the funeral. Some Asian guy in a black car. He's been parked outside my house all day. Sarah, I'm scared. I think they're going to kill me like they killed David. Tom, call the police. And tell them what? That I'm being followed? They'll think I'm paranoid. But you'll understand. You have to understand. Because they're after you too. That's what David found out. That's why he died. What did David find out? I ask urgently. I can't tell you over the phone, Tom says. They might be listening. Please. Sarah. I know I was mean to you at the funeral. I'm sorry. I was drunk and angry. But David told me things before he died. Important things. Things about your grandmother and her past. Things about why he really married you 10 years ago. My heart stops. What do you mean, why he married me? Just meet me, Tom begs. Please. I'll explain everything. The warehouse at 8 p.m. I'll make sure no one follows me. Please. Sarah. I'm scared and I don't know who else to trust. He sounds genuinely terrified. Not at all like the angry drunk from the funeral. Okay, I say before Margaret can stop me. I'll be there at 8 p.m. Come alone, Tom says. If they see anyone with you, they'll kill me. These people are serious, Sarah. They've already killed 2 people. Maybe more that we don't even know about. He hangs up before I can respond. Margaret looks furious. You just agreed to walk into a trap. He sounded really scared, I say. And he said something about David marrying me for a reason. What if my marriage was part of this whole thing? What if David knew about my grandmother's past all along? That thought makes me feel sick. What if my whole marriage was a lie from the very beginning? What if David married me because of my grandmother's money and connections? Even if Tom is telling the truth, Margaret says, you're not going alone. That's final. We argue about it for the next hour as Marcus drives us to Margaret's safe house outside the city. It's a big house surrounded by trees and a tall fence with security cameras everywhere. Inside, Margaret makes phone calls while Monica and I sit in the living room, too stressed to eat or drink anything. Finally, at 7 p.m., Margaret comes back into the room. I've made a decision, she says. We're going to that warehouse. But we're doing it my way. She opens a briefcase and pulls out what looks like a tiny microphone. You'll wear a wire so we can hear everything. Marcus and I will be outside in the car, and we'll have 2 other security people positioned around the building. If anything goes wrong, we storm in and get you out. What if they search me for a wire? I ask. They won't, Margaret says. This device is so small it looks like a button on your jacket. Unless they strip search you, they won't find it. At 7:30 p.m., we get into the SUV and drive back toward the city. The sun is setting, making the sky turn orange and purple. I'm terrified, but I need to know the truth. I need to know if my whole life has been a lie. We arrive at the warehouse district at 7:55 p.m. The area is mostly abandoned, old buildings with broken windows and empty parking lots. Marcus parks the SUV 2 blocks away from the warehouse Tom mentioned. Remember, Margaret says, handing me a small panic button. If anything feels wrong, press this button and we'll come get you immediately. Don't try to be brave. Just run. I take the panic button and put it in my pocket. I'm scared, I admit. You should be, Margaret says honestly. But you're also brave. Your grandmother would be proud of you. I get out of the car and walk toward the warehouse alone. My footsteps echo on the empty street. The warehouse is a huge brick building with most of its windows broken. The door is slightly open. I push it wider and step inside. It's dark inside except for some light coming through the broken windows. I can see old boxes and machinery covered in dust. Tom. I call out. I'm here. It's Sarah. No response. I walk deeper into the warehouse, my heart pounding. Tom. Where are you? Still nothing. Suddenly, I hear a sound behind me. I spin around. Standing in the doorway, blocking my exit, is not Tom. It's Melissa Waters. And she's holding a gun. Hello, Sarah, she says with that same cold smile. So glad you could make it. Behind her, two large men step into the warehouse. They're both Asian and wearing dark suits. I'm trapped. Where's Tom? I demand, trying to keep my voice steady. Tom is dead, Melissa says casually. We killed him an hour ago. I sent that text from his phone to lure you here. Pretty smart, right? Horror washes over me. Tom is dead. Another person killed because of whatever is happening. Why? I ask. Why are you doing this? Melissa laughs. Because you have something that doesn't belong to you, sweetheart. Something very valuable. And my employers want it back. I don't have anything. I shout. Yes, you do, Melissa says. Your grandmother stole something 40 years ago when she fled China. Something worth more than all her property and money combined. And now that you've inherited everything, you have it. We want it back. I don't know what you're talking about. Then I guess we'll have to search you, Melissa says. And search your sister's apartment. And search every property you own until we find it. But first, we need to make sure you can't cause us any more trouble. She raises the gun and points it at my head. My hand moves toward the panic button in my pocket. But before I can press it, one of the men behind Melissa suddenly falls to the ground. Then the other one falls. Melissa spins around, confused. What the? A figure steps out of the shadows behind her. It's a man I've never seen before. He's old, maybe 80, with silver hair and sharp eyes. He's wearing an expensive suit and holding a cane. But he moves fast for an old man. Before Melissa can shoot, he swings the cane and knocks the gun out of her hand. Melissa tries to run, but the old man moves his cane again and trips her. She falls hard on the concrete floor. Stay down, child, the old man says in a calm voice with a Chinese accent. This doesn't concern you anymore. He walks toward me slowly, and I realize who he must be. Lin Zhao. The most dangerous crime lord in Southeast Asia. And he's here in this warehouse with me. Sarah Mitchell, he says, looking at me with those sharp eyes. Granddaughter of Elizabeth Chin. We finally meet. I'm too terrified to speak. Your grandmother was a very clever woman, Lin Zhao continues. She stole something from me many years ago. Something I have been searching for ever since. And now, you will return it to me. I don't have anything. I say desperately. Lin Zhao smiles, but it's not a kind smile. Yes, you do. You just don't know it yet. But you will. Because if you don't give me what I want by tomorrow night. He pulls out his phone and shows me a photo. It's Monica. She's tied to a chair in a dark room, looking terrified. My whole world stops. If you don't give me what I want, Lin Zhao says softly, your sister dies. And then you die. And I will still find what I'm looking for. When did you? I can't breathe. When did you take her? 20 minutes ago, Lin Zhao says. My people grabbed her from the car while your bodyguards were distracted. She's safe for now. But her safety depends on your cooperation. Behind me, I hear the warehouse door burst open. Margaret and Marcus run in with guns drawn. But they stop when they see Lin Zhao. Ah, Margaret Chen, Lin Zhao says. Still protecting the family that betrayed mine. How loyal. Let them go, Margaret says, her gun pointed at Lin Zhao. This is between you and me. Lin Zhao laughs. Between you and me? No, my dear. This is between the Chen family and the Lin family. And it ends tomorrow night. He looks at me again. You have 24 hours, Sarah Mitchell. Find what your grandmother stole and bring it to me. Or Monica dies. He walks past Margaret and Marcus toward the door, completely unafraid of their guns. At the doorway, he turns back. Oh, and one more thing. David didn't die by accident. I had him killed when he discovered the truth about what your grandmother hid. He was going to tell you everything. I couldn't allow that. So remember, if you go to the police, if you try to run, if you do anything except bring me what I want, more people will die. Starting with your sister. And then he's gone. I collapse to my knees, shaking and crying. Margaret rushes over to me. Sarah, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. My people were watching the car, but they were too good. They must have. They have Monica, I sob. They're going to kill her. And I don't even know what they want. I don't know what my grandmother stole. Melissa is still on the ground, conscious but stunned. Margaret walks over and grabs her by the collar. You're going to tell us everything, Margaret says coldly. Right now. Or I'll make you wish Lin Zhao had killed you. Melissa looks scared for the first time. I don't know everything. They just paid me to get close to David, to find out what he knew about the Chen family. Then when he discovered something in Sarah's grandmother's old documents, they told me to kill him. What did he discover? I demand. I don't know. Melissa cries. They didn't tell me. They just said it was valuable. Something hidden. That's all I know. Margaret pulls out her phone and makes a call. I'm calling in favors. Every contact I have is going to help us find what Lin Zhao wants. We have 24 hours. I look at the time on my phone. It's 8:47 p.m. on Saturday night. By 8:47 p.m. tomorrow, I have to find something I don't even know exists. Or my sister dies. And I still don't understand any of this. What did my grandmother hide that's worth killing for?